Herb London joins us now, of course, from the London Center for Policy Research, and you're the president there. What do we make of this? Because there's some speculation, we talked earlier in the show, that maybe the Trump administration is already pushing through agenda before it gets the official okay.
I think that bureaucratically you're starting to see some very significant changes that are occurring. It's all occurring under the radar screen, but I think it's having a chilling effect on migrants coming into the United States.
Is it on the up and up, though? I mean, is it?
I think it's on the up and up.
Nothing like involving a travel moratorium and things like that.
No. I think it's simply
just enforcing laws.
Exactly. If you enforce the law and if you're looking for records from the countries that people have come from, I think you will find that it's very difficult to obtain. The consequence of that is that you try very hard to create an environment where people can enter the United States, but do so under appropriate circumstances.
Now, this some will criticize it as being nefarious or mean-spirited, but you're just saying this is essentially just really following the law that, by the way, it was the same laws that were around when President Trump was in office.
Exactly. Even before President Trump,
President
long
Obama,
before Obama, yeah. I think these laws have been in existence. They have been ignored to some degree, and I think when you adhere to the law, you will find that you get the kind of response we're seeing.
We've seen border crossings, illegal border crossings, down as much as 70%. Is there the same sort of psychology also at play here? I mean, little sort of different, but sort of the same as well.
I think that there's also an attitude change that has taken place with the immigration authorities, recognizing the fact that you have a president who will back them up, and you now have a very different kind of attitude that exists among these people who are in the field. I think that that has a salutary effect on the morale of those who work in the immigration area. I
also want to ask you about this. There are reports that President Trump is getting closer to pulling out of the Paris climate deal. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt actually said on this program that the idea puts America second. I want you to take a listen to that.
When you look at Paris, what's right about this issue is making sure that we have international discussion with respect to how good a job we're doing across the globe with respecting our CO2 footprint. But what's wrong with Paris? It was a bad deal for this country. But what Paris represents is an America Second strategy. That's a bad business deal for this country. It caused a contraction to our economy when we're leading the world already at reducing our CO2 footprint.
So, Herb, the Trump administration's worried that if they stay in the agreement, it could hamper our energy agenda and also give these other countries an edge, right? They're allowed to grow their economy. We're going to have restraints because of the cost of that deal.
The restraints that are placed on India and China are nowhere near the kind of restraints that we're living with at the moment. The consequence of that is that the United States is hampering its own economic growth. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, if anything, why not bring this to the attention of the Senate and say to the Senate, let's vote on this issue. If it's a treaty, then presumably the Senate should be involved in any case.
Now, those limits for India and China, one of the things is they don't even kick in for, what, 2030 or something? I mean,
something on the order of 25, 30 years. That's correct.
Their argument, though, is America was growing before us. And they had the advantage. After World War II, there were no competitors. Europe was in shambles. Japan was in shambles. It's only fair to allow India and China more time to catch up. What's wrong with that argument?
Well, I think what's wrong with that argument is that, again, if you look at the pollution that China is presently engaged in and the effect that it is having on the carbon footprint, I think one would have to say that this is a deleterious effect on world affairs. India as well. I think what you want to do is to provide advantages for those nations. But those advantages, I don't think, have to take place over a 25-year period. If you said 4 or 5 years, that might be adequate.
Right. And, of course, I think the smog alerts and issues in China probably will force their hand sooner rather than later anyway.
Right. That's true.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.